Spark the brain, 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 spark the brain. We here. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. It's the third round, RPB. I don't know if they ready for this one, man. You gotta switch it up on them a little bit. You know what I'm talking about? Have a seat at the master's table. We ain't asked for no seat. We went and built up our own. You see, it's rather stable. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you know the rest. Look, listen, and observe, but also respect. In God we trust. It's obvious. The money ain't the root of all evil, but lack thereof. That's why they deprive you of resources. Why they focus on streams of income, at least 3 sources. We certified, we solidified. And they say they created hip-hop, but all that shit is lies. Cause every element came before the development of what we call hip-hop now. It's all relevant to all the topics we gon' touch on. Spoiler alert, as you play this album, ain't no club songs. Boy, that hurt, but this ain't no conscious album. It's just that real shit, that Black God mantra album. I hope y'all feel this. Spark the brain, 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 spark the brain. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. Spark the brain, spark the brain, spark the brain. My mind is spark the brain, spark the brain.
The masters, the masters, the masters, the masters.
Peace, God.
Hey, Dad. He's so good.
Hey, man, I got you a new book.
A new book?
Check it out. Check it out. Let me know how you like it. I'll be back. Man, this Bitcoin, this Ethereum ain't doing nothing for me right now, man. Gotta find some new investments.
Peace, God. What you doing?
Peace, God. It's good.
I think this book is kind of inappropriate.
Inappropriate? Well, what's up with it?
It's inappropriate because look at these.
LGBT? Oh, man, I'm sorry about that, God.
I accept your apology.
Man, it's a shame, man. You can't even find no decent books for you nowadays without having to have these difficult conversations.
I have an idea.
What's
Maybe
that?
we should make a series of our own book.
A book series? That is a good idea.
7 volumes.
7, I get it. 7 volumes. What should we call it?
7 the Super Hey Rude.
7 the Super. Perfect. 7 the Super Hey Rule.
And then maybe we could even make some bundles of it once we get to volume 3.
Oh, see, now you're thinking like a businessman. I like that idea, man. A foundational Black American children's series.
Perfect.
Visit www.godcastbooks.com and pre-order your book today.
Peace. This is the Black Dot, father, author, writer, poet, MC, one half of the dynamic duo, the #1 father and son podcast, Urban X TV. I am super excited about the new release, The Masters Table by Sincere Love the God and RP Beats. This album is going to be crazy. It's the follow-up to The Spear and The Shield. Already know what time it is. It's got some dope pieces on it. You're going to love it. Also on the album is yours truly, The Black Dot. So you want to go to the Masters RSVP and secure your copy now. They got a bundle package. You get a backdrop, you get a poster, you get the digital download, you get the physical copy, you get a hoodie. The whole process is really crazy. So RSVP to Masters RSVP, and you can get that dope album, My Sincere Love to God and RP Beats, The Masters Table. You will never be disappointed at how dope this project is going to be. Peace.
Have a seat at the master's table. We ain't asked for no seat. We went and built up our own. You see, it's rather stable. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you know the rest. Look, listen, and observe, but also respect. In God we trust. It's obvious, the money ain't the root of all evil, but lack thereof. That's why they deprive you of resources. Why they focus on streams of income, at least 3 sources. We certified, we solidified. And they say they created hip-hop, but all that shit is lies. Cause every element came before the development of what we callin' hip-hop now. It's all relevant to all the topics we gon' touch on. Spoiler alert, as you play this album, ain't no club songs. Boy, that hurt, but this ain't no conscious album. It's just that real shit, that Black God mantra album. I hope y'all feel this.
Masters Decoded.
Master elements.
Masters Decoded.
Racism, white supremacy is a dynamic system for the ultimate purpose of white genetic survival on the planet. White supremacy.
You are in an evil system, a system that is designed deliberately to produce evil thoughts, to produce animosity, to produce violence.
Introduction to African civilizations and man-garden civilization.
Master elements. Master elements.
We dedicate lives to the study of the history.
They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation.
The right way is clearly distinct from error.
Racism is a competitive relationship between groups of people who are competing for the ownership and control of resources, wealth, and power.
Master elements.
Still you so brilliant, most resilient. We poster children of prophecy fulfillment. We gotta be God's children. Yeah, we need to learn how to.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Family, peace to the family. What's going on, everybody? What's going on with y'all, man? Welcome to another episode of the Masters Decoded, right here on SincereluvdagodCast. I am the God Sincere Love, back with volume 3 of the Masters Decoded series. And today we will be tackling we will be deciphering the song The Fort off of the Masters Table album. So welcome everybody, get on up in here, man. Make sure that y'all hit the like button on your way coming in the room. Make sure that you share this out right now. Hit that share button and let everybody know on your social media platforms that we are live right now and we're going to be deciphering the song The Fort off of the Masters Table album. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you might be watching me on Facebook. I don't think we live on Twitter right now, but we live on my Facebook page, my Facebook profile, and my Facebook channel. We're live right now. So you might be watching us over there. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, just head on over to YouTube, type in my name, Sincere Love the God, hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can stay tapped in with us whenever we go live with new content. And so shout out to everybody coming in the room right now. We got the God number in here right now. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to get this thing started. But still in all, I need y'all to do the street team thing and hit that share button, right? Invite some more people to come on up in here with us. We're going to chop up some good game today. Shout out to my brother DJ RP Beats in the building. Mama Love in the building. Shout out to my sister Mimi in the building. Shout out to our moderators. My co-host Crown 808 is in the building. The goddess Nicety Girl is in the building. Peace to all of y'all. Peace to all of y'all. And so, yeah, man, today we deciphered The Fort. The Fort is one of those songs that got an immediate reaction when we dropped this album. The Fort was one of them songs that got an immediate reaction from a lot of the listeners, people who were familiar with us prior to the project, and people who just got put on to us. You know what I mean? Both of those groups of people alike were hitting us up about this particular song right here. And so we're going to have to get into that. And so, yeah, especially the people who been familiar with us and familiar with me for a long time, everybody knows that Nas is my favorite MC. I consider Nas to be the greatest MC of all time. And so they were really surprised and taken back on, some of the words that I spoke, especially in verse 1, directly addressing Nas, you know what I'm saying, by name and all of that, and calling out certain things that I felt the way about. But that's the thing about me, man. That's the thing about me. I'm a fair person. I'm very, very fair when it comes to these things. And yeah, shout out to Yaya in the building. I see you, General. I'm very fair. I'm non-biased. And that's one thing that is different about me. That's one thing that's unique about me when it comes to, we always have conversations and debates and arguments about hip hop and who's the best MC and all of that stuff. When I engage in these conversations, one thing that's unique about me from most people is that I'm very non-biased when it comes to these things. I'm very, very non-biased, regardless to who my personal favorites may be, what my attachments might be to a particular artist. I'm going to give you the real in those conversations. I'm going to give you the real. What's the word when you being non-biased? I can't even think of the word right now. But that's a characteristic that I've had for a long time, and I don't see that in a lot of people. Most people will never criticize their favorite MC. Most people are very biased when it comes to their favorite MC, and they don't have not one negative word to speak about their favorite MC. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a little different when it comes to that. And it's not just when it comes to MCs, but just regardless to who we speaking about or what the topic may be, nobody is exempt from getting this work whenever I deem it necessary to give out that work. And so, yeah, people were surprised by that, but that's how I get down. Shout out to some chick named Star in the building, Breeze Omega in the building. Appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the share button. We about to get into this thing, man. We ain't get started yet. Y'all ain't missed nothing. I'm about to play the song The Fort, and then we'll get right into the lyrical breakdown session. So let me see. I'm trying to make sure I don't have any announcements for y'all before we get started. Yeah, one thing that I want to give y'all an update. I know those of you who have purchased some of the bundle packages with the album, y'all been waiting for the CDs and the posters and all of that. Well, if you got the ultimate bundle, you already got your hoodie, you already got your digital download, and you already got your canvas print for the walls. So you're still waiting for your CD, but also we wanted to throw in a bonus with the CD. We wanted to give y'all some posters. And today I got in the posters for the project, but I was not exactly happy with the way that they turned out. And so, boom, that looks fly right there. The quality and all of that is great, but the way that they placed it, y'all see all of this black on the bottom right here? You see how it's all this black on the bottom right here? They didn't center it, the way that they should have. I think they actually should have did it landscape and put it in the center right here. I think it would have looked better that way. And so I'm not exactly happy with these. So I'm gonna contact the manufacturers tomorrow to see if they will fix that for me. If not, either way, I think one thing that I'm making sense of doing, because I know they're not going to take it back either way, even if they say, yeah, we'll redo it or whatever the case may be, and they want to honor it, they're not going to take these back. So what I will do, and most of the the mail packaging places, I think they usually have that board where you could cut like thick a whole bunch of pieces if you need to slice something. And so I think I'm gonna take it over there and just cut this whole bottom part off and just make it into a smaller version where it could just fit into a nice little frame. I don't know what size that would be, but we did get the posters in today for those of y'all who are waiting on that. But yeah, we're not happy about this portion right here, so we're trying to see what we could do to fix that, so we can make sure we get something fly to y'all. But either way, that's where we at, family. I'll definitely be signing them. For sure. Either way, I'm going to sign them. You know what I mean? But I know somebody has suggested that too about that bottom piece. Hey, maybe you could just, autograph that part of it and put some of the show details or whatever. If you guys got any shows coming or whatever the case may be, you could write that in there, whatever. But I want that's not how I wanted the poster to come out. So I want to see if we can get it redone. I want to definitely see if we can get it redone. But either way, we're going to make it do what it do. And so, y'all ready to get into this thing? Are y'all ready to get into this thing? And yeah, again, y'all see I got my Nas shirt on, man. Y'all see I got my Illmatic joint on right here. Y'all see that? Y'all see I got my Illmatic joint on right there. So definitely no Nas hate. No Nas hate, but we got to keep things 100. That's all. We got to keep things 100. That's all. So with that being said, let me go ahead and play the joint. We're going to play the joint one time straight through, and then we'll get into the lyrical breakdown aspect of today's broadcast. And RP Beats, I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link in a minute for you to hop on too. All right. So, boom. Here we go.
That's what this is about. You talking to the fucking master, man. I said it ain't about entertainment.
Listen, I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X. I realized these guys never valued our respect. Still, you my favorite rapper. I can't deny you the greatest at this. King's disease might explain your actions. Like you got so big, you lost touch. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up, I love to see it. Ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. Your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap. But you was caping for Asian hate. That propaganda put Black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention I fight for reparations. You rep for Asians, I question why. And since you working on the hip-hop museum, Latinos and Caribbeans claiming our culture, you agreeing? Or will you
put down, represent to the fullest. Pull a foot down, represent to the fullest. Pull a foot down, represent to the fullest.
You with this mic here can do more to change things than Hollywood.
Seem like all the greatest rappers turn boule now. Male hair units, that's the new toupee now. Beijing the beard just to cover up the gray now. Is it too much for me to ask of you to stay down? Shout out to Ice Cube, he the realest. But who's Talib Kweli's ventriloquist? He's compromised ever since Common got with Angela Rye. He been shilling for the Democrats, I can't even lie. And y'all align with so-called street politicians like Tamika Mallory and Mike Saul Lennon. CIP and Killer Mike, who was y'all kidding? Diddy held the vote hostage for all of 5 minutes. And Jay-Z said we was past leaning. And we've been waiting on the power move since last season. A lot of y'all pathetic niggas still sitting with Vlad. Signing 360 deals, getting fucked in the ass. All I ask is that you
put down, represent to the fullest. Put down, represent to the fullest.
Let me say this. We got to be focused. Nobody in the history of this planet ever got liberated through entertainers or athletes. Huh? Ask yourself that. Nobody. When you go to war, you don't go to entertain, you go to kill or be killed. We the only people that sit around and thinking athletes is a bunch of shit, man. Huh? You know, any country in the history of the planet got liberated because of entertainers or only us, we tolerate that. But in America, wants your ass to go to war, you ain't going blowing no horn. That's what this is about.
That's what this is about, family. That's what this is about. Actually, let me do this real quick, because as we go through the joint, because on the album we got two versions of this song. We also have the acoustic version of this record. And so as we go through the lyrics, I'm gonna use the acoustic version as we go through the lyrics. So let me take that off the stage right there. Didn't Nas say Gwyneth Paltrow get a pass for saying nigga? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one also. Yeah, I remember that one also. We talked about that on the show before too. Yeah, that one was hella cringy. Yeah, that one was hella cringy. We talked about that on the show before. Yeah, there was a few different points of contention with my brother, particularly in recent years. I don't know when that Gwyneth Paltrow comment was made. I don't know what era that was in, but most of the issues that I'm bringing attention to on the record happened in recent years. It happened ever since he's been on this musical release run. You know what I'm saying? Before King's Disease, but it started with like the album that he did with Kanye, or the Lost Tapes album. I think the Kanye album came first, or the Lost Tapes album might have came before that one. Something like that. It was around that time. The Kanye album, the Nasir album, and the Lost Tapes 2 album, where I started to notice, my nigga sound like he's starting to soften up a little bit. Sound like he's trying to ingratiate himself with the dominant society and not be as abrasive, because Nas has always been very unapologetically black. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that he's not that now, but he has been always one of those dudes that just didn't really bite his tongue, said what needed to be said, spoke truth to power. He always went against the grain, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't really concerned with what was popular, you know what I'm saying? And so I grew to have certain expectations for my brother when it came to certain things. And then, like I said, in recent years, I just started to notice, like, that don't sound like the same Nas right there. And so what Jason Black always say, or my B1 family in the building, you know what Jason Black always say, man. You got to watch these old niggas. His style was rustic truth. Shout out to B-ville in the building. Hell, I'm still stuck on Chuck D. Yeah, Chuck D too. Yep, Chuck D too. Right. Again, can't trust these old niggas. You always got to keep an eye on the old niggas. And that includes myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm becoming an elder statesman now too. And so I would expect y'all to keep your eye on me as well. You know what I mean? Nobody gets a pass. After Khalees took his milkshake to the yard, the chink's been sold. Shit. Hey, yo, let me drop the link for RP Beats. RP, where you watching us from? You on YouTube, right? You on YouTube. I'm going to drop the link in the YouTube chat for my brother DJ RP Beats to come hop on here with me. Let me see where we at. And as a matter of fact, RP, yeah, I'm going to make it so that you can actually stream this to your own destination. So as you're logging in, I believe it's going to give you an option to either link your Facebook or your Facebook, so that it could stream on your page at the same time too. All right, so here go the link right here. Shout out to Rashid in the building. Here go the link right here. That's for DJ RP Beats. Pull up a seat at the master's table, my brother, so we could break this thing down how it's supposed to get broke down. And so the song, let me just give y'all a brief overall. The song is addressing a problem that we've had in Black society for a long time, something that Malcolm X warned us about 50, 60 years ago when it comes to allowing Black entertainers to represent us on serious matters, when it comes to our politics, when it comes to our socioeconomic issues, so on and so forth. us allowing ourselves to be represented by our celebrity class has been something has been somewhat of an embarrassment for decades. And so overall, that's what the song is addressing. DJ RP Beats in the building. What's going on, King? You gotta unmute your mic, God.
Peace.
Peace, King.
Peace, King. How you?
Great, man.
We back, decoded. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Peace of the black family.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Masters table.
Were you able to connect it to one of your destinations?
I didn't see an option, but
yeah, I don't know how it works when we're doing it live. But that's a new feature that they added. You could give the guest an option to connect one of their destinations so it can stream simultaneously. But it's all good. But yeah, and so overall, that's like the theme of the song, addressing some of our celebrities and public figures who go out and misrepresent us and talk down on the issues that we feel are important. And so that's been a problem for a long time. That's not a new problem, but it's something that I haven't heard addressed in a hip hop song on a rap record before. And so I felt like it was important to talk about it. Plus these things are stuff that was on my heart, stuff that we've been dealing with, in these social media streets and all of that.
Right.
We be giving these people this work. I mean, DJ RP Beats, I know you had back and forth with Talib Kweli not too long ago. What was that, on Twitter or Instagram?
That was on Instagram. Basically, he was at his madness. He was on his rant, about the whole Kanye situation, and he didn't want Kanye speaking truth, so he was basically being used by the enemy against Kanye. And myself and a few others, we voiced our opinion on that. And he decided to call us like black Nazis and all kind of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And so me and him, we had a back and forth because I'm not backing down. So I started.
Hold on before you wait. Let's wait till we get to that part.
Okay.
We get to that part in the record, and I'll let you go all in with the details.
Okay.
But yeah, you had that back and forth with him. I've had a couple of back and forths with him on Twitter, especially when we first started using the FBA designation. Like he was one of the main people that was going real hard against us delineating ourselves. And so I had a back and forth with him dealing with that. And he's one of the ones that have been very, very, very off code. Like again, I got my time for certain people, but Ali has been like an open enemy.
He's like he's bouncing either which way. You don't know where he's gonna land. Dewan B got in him rough. He tore him up, yo. He tore Talib up. He was one that went at him heavy, man. Yeah. He shut him down on Twitter.
And so man, y'all heard some of the names that were mentioned, man. We talked about Talib Kweli. Obviously, we talked about Common.
Yep.
We talked about Killer Mike and T.I. We talked about Tamika Mallory and John Lennon, Jay-Z, Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Who am I forgetting? These are the main people that were called out by name on the song. But before we get into the lyrics, talk about the production on this one, man, because I think this is one of the songs that kind of changed the direction for us sonically. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you did the acoustic version.
Yeah. Basically the original draft of The Fort was more street. It was harder. And I wanted it, I don't know, like I was inspired by like, I don't know, at that time I was watching like Harlem Nights and I was watching different stuff. Like usually when I'm in a creative mode, like whatever's around me can inspire me. Miles Davis, I was watching him live. But I remember the first draft we originally built it. We were gonna have a guest MC on that, with us. At that time, I'm trying to remember who we were gonna add to it. But as the progression, went on with the development of the song, and as you laid down the words, I had the jazz inspiration, and I just went back and I was like, let me add the pianos and the strings and make it lush. It brought out the beauty in the whole sound.
Right.
And I remember when I sent it back to you, you was like, what did you do? You was like, keep going. So like you said, that was one of those records that, really set up the sound for the whole project. That was one of the records that opened the door.
Facts. All right, so let's get into some of these lyrics, man. Let's get into some of these lyrics right here. And so, by the way, family, those of y'all who have 2 devices, if you're watching us on the computer and you got your phone in your hand, or vice versa, you're watching us on the phone and you close to your computer or iPad or anything like that, what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to go to the Genius website. If you go to the Genius website, for those of y'all that's not familiar, there's a website called Genius where you can look up the lyrics to songs and the annotations for the lyrics on the songs.
Right.
Go there and type in Master Elements, the Fort, so that you can have the lyrics in front of you. Because on the computer, I can't play the song from the Genius app. On the phone, you can actually play it. But I'm streaming on from my computer, and so I could pull it up here so y'all can see the lyrics on the screen. But I need to play the song out loud, and I can't do it from the Genius app. So hold on. Yeah. So if you have a second device on you, go to the Genius app and look up this song, The Fort. DJ RPB, Sincere Love to God, Master Elements, The Fort, and where we at? Yeah. All right, and so that way you could be able to follow along with the lyrics. So let's get it. We're playing the acoustic version, by the way.
That's what this is about. You talking to the fucking master, man. I said it ain't about entertainment.
Listen, hold on. So the Dick Gregory snippet, the Dick Gregory sample, RP. Did we use that particular snippet before? Did we use that on?
Yeah. That was a piece. That first part. I added that to there was a record we did on the first Master Elements album, the self-titled album, record that we did called Problems. And that was that piece was the intro to Problems, and then I added additional pieces to this record, so it was just like a continuation of the conversation.
Yes, indeed. And we did stuff like that a couple of times on this project. We harked back on certain themes and certain things that we touched on in the first album.
Right.
And for those of y'all that don't know, that's a principle within the science of the 5% nation of gods and earths. Going from zig to zag and back to zig, meaning starting from knowledge, going to born, and then going all the way back to knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So the way that you start is the way that you begin. So this is our third project together, and so we zigged a little bit by bringing things full circle. You know, for those that know and understand, and understand.
Tap into that first project. All the new family that's getting used to the vibes, and also the second album, The Spear and the Shield, and you definitely be caught up with us.
Definitely. Let me get your zigzag zigzag indeed. Let me get your interpretation right there. I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X. I realized these guys never valued our respect. Still, you my favorite rapper. I can't deny you the greatest at this. King's disease might explain your actions. Let me get your interpretation. Talking to you, RP.
Talking to me?
Yeah. Today.
Well, basically, our songs are, all about, real-time social commentary. So, these are when you wrote that lyric, basically It was a continuation of conversation that we were having about his. I think it was before he started the King Disease series. Was it? It was before that. It was like the last project before he dropped that. And you and I had that conversation. It was like, yo, man, he's compromised. He was soft, and he kind of was losing that messaging. He was more so going corporate, and what he originally stood for, he was changing lanes. So that those lyrics and what you brought to the table was just a reflection of that. And also a lot of the records that we do. That's why I feel personally why we connect so well with the family. Based on real-time conversation.
Yes, indeed. So I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X. So
right.
Nas did a song with Lil Nas X when Lil Nas X was first kind of blowing up. It was after the rodeo joint.
Mm-hmm.
He did that rodeo joint.
Was it like a remix joint?
No. It's a whole nother song.
Mm.
Name of the song. Wait, what? The Old Town Road was his first song.
First single, yeah.
The name of the song that Nas is on, I believe, is called Rodeo. Right? And so, it's not a remix or nothing. Nas was just featured on Lil Nas X's record. And so this was, I believe, the follow-up to the Old Town Road single. And again, he had Nas featured on there. And I felt like, from an industry standpoint, we know and understand what the Lil Nas X thing is about. Lil Nas X is an industry plant, you know what I'm saying, that was brought to the forefront in order to push this whole LGBT agenda within the hip hop culture, right? Trying to neutralize it within hip hop. And so, and one thing that I realized recently too, because I had saw a post about this one particular producer, and I forgot the producer's name, but they were talking about all of these different records that this one producer had produced.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Old Town Road. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, because they made it seem like Old Town Road came out of nowhere. Like he was some grassroots artist that just dropped on, I don't know if it was TikTok or SoundCloud or wherever it first started gaining steam from. They made it seem like it was an organic thing, how Old Town Road blew up. Because remember when Old Town Road came out, he wasn't bussy popping and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was like a cowboy. He just looked like a young dude, young Atlanta dude or whatever the case may be. The song was cool. All the little kids liked the song or whatever.
They loved it. Right.
But what I realized is his rise was manufactured from the very beginning. At first, I was thinking that, the Old Town Road thing it took off on its own, and then the industry latched on to him once they found out that he was, that he was a little sweet. No, once I seen that this producer that was connected to the record, I said, oh, this was manufactured from the very beginning.
Straight agenda.
You know what I'm saying? And so that was one. So I believe the song that Nas is on is called Rodeo. And that was the follow-up to that single. And so by that time, the Old Town Road thing had already gathered all the controversy with the Country Music Awards and all of that stuff. The song was fully blown up by that time.
Right.
Nas X, I'm not sure if he came out as gay yet, but he definitely wasn't wearing, he wasn't half naked and busting it open on stage and doing all the wild stuff that we be seeing.
Not yet.
And he wasn't doing all of that yet.
Right.
But I'm not sure if he had already announced that he was gay or not. I'm not sure about that. But it was right before the Grammys hit. And I believe Nas X was nominated for a Grammy, but he definitely performed at the Grammys, and Nas performed the song with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nas, legendary, legacy hip-hop artist, world-renowned artist, has never won a Grammy up to that point, and had never even performed on the Grammys or even as much as presented an award at the Grammy show. They never acknowledged Nas before. And so I immediately peeped that this was an exchange, because a lot of criticism that came about when Lil Nas X, once he came all the way fully out and all of that stuff, a lot of people was like criticizing him having that name. They saying he shouldn't have that name. He got one of the most legendary MCs name, and he's not worthy of that name. That's what a lot of people were saying. And so Nas's job was to do the song with him in order to quell that noise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? By Nas doing the record, that was putting a stamp on him, saying it was cool for him to have that name. It was cool for him to be accepted within the culture and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I'll co-sign you. I'll co-sign this.
Right. So Nas put his stamp on it, I believe, in exchange for to be ingratiated with the Grammys and all of that stuff that he never really experienced throughout his career. He had a great career, but he never really experienced that mainstream level of acceptance because, again, he's always been against the grain. He's always been unapologetically black. He's always spoke about themes that are not deemed acceptable in the mainstream.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X because the song itself, if you listen to the song Rodeo, it's not a whack song to me. The song is cool. It ain't like some of the other records that Lil Nas X got that are completely whack. And, you know, he talking wild stuff in the lyrics and all that. The song is a cool song if you just listen to the song. So it wasn't that, it wasn't about the music. It was about the play. You know, it was about what was at play. I seen what you was doing, Esco.
It's an agenda.
This was an exchange.
Right.
So I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X. And I just had to accept the reality and realize these guys never valued our respect.
Right.
And so as I say that, I still have to admit, still you my favorite rapper. I can't deny you the greatest at this, but that's neither here nor there. See, that's the thing. A lot of people can't compartmentalize and have these conversations about their favorite celebrity, their favorite singer, their favorite artist, their favorite actor, basketball player, whoever it is. They can't compartmentalize from what they do on the court, on the football field, or in the booth, or on the big screen from some of the moves that they're making behind the scenes and some of the stuff that they do that is detrimental to Black society as a whole. Right. You know what I mean? So I'm putting those things in their own individual boxes. Yeah, you still my favorite rapper. I can't deny you the greatest at this. Then I said, King's disease might explain your actions. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, no, yeah, we still good. I said, King's disease might explain your actions. And so what do I mean by that? Peace, Honey Queen in the building. I see you. What did I mean by that? King's disease might explain your actions. And so Nas has been on a legendary run for the last 4 albums that he did with Hit Boy. Three of them being King's Disease 1, 2, and 3. Right. So it's a play on the title, so that that trilogy with him and Hit Boy. But I'm also talking about the literal meaning of King's disease. What does it mean to have King's disease?
Right.
King's disease is when you start to suffer from your success. Your success starts to eat away at your health. You start to overindulge in the decadent lifestyle. Success of being a king. You a king, so everything is at your will, and so you overeating, you drinking too much, you partying too much. You know what I'm saying?
You're abusing yourself.
Indeed.
Destroying yourself.
The overindulgence that comes with the privilege that you have as the king becomes a disease because the overindulgence, you're doing things that are detrimental to your mental health, to your physical health, to your reputation, you know, whatever it may be. You start to erode those things by overindulging and abusing your power and your privilege.
Right.
So that's why I said King's disease might explain your actions. And so the following line ties into that. Did you want to say something about that?
No, I was saying basically like you said, in terms of, you know, what that defines in terms of the lifestyle. When you finally, you know, when the artist usually comes in the door, he's hungry. We've seen him on Illmatic. He's hungry, right? He's reflecting, you know, his life experiences and why he's looking to make a better life for himself and transition out that experience, right? So now it's like the next stage in the next conversation. Once you get the riches and you have the lifestyle, it's like, what's your mission? You know, if you don't have a mission, then you wind up destroying yourself. And we've seen that with a lot of the greats, right? They get to a point where they've achieved the financial success and they have status, but they don't have a mission. They've abandoned the mission, and now they're living into that decadent lifestyle, and all vanity. So basically, that's really, what we saw, trying to gain acceptance from those who he spoke against. Now, instead of going against the system, now he's now becoming a part of that system that he spoke against.
Right.
So now, so it reflects in the messaging on the album, right? He's not speaking against them anymore. He's going to the parties. He's looking for the awards. He would never go to the award show. He wasn't into the award show.
And when he did, when he was going to the Grammys before, him and Khalees, they showed up wearing the jackets that said "nigga" on the back.
The nigga album.
He showed up as a rebel.
Right. You know it was a protest.
You know what I mean? On the red carpet, making a statement,
right.
making a political statement on the red carpet. You know what I mean? So it was a different energy. It wasn't going there looking for the acceptance. It was going there saying, you got to deal with me whether you like it or not.
I'm here.
Because there's nothing wrong with wanting to be successful and wanting to be, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be rich and take it to that next level. Financially, there's nothing wrong with that. It's all about what are you willing to do to get it? What are you willing to compromise to get it? Because that's the reason why I said I realized these guys never valued our respect. Because Nas is a unique artist because of the fact that he was able to sustain a relatively high level career without compromising anything, without compromising the art, without compromising his integrity, without any of he didn't have to play the game. He just utilized his gift, his skill, his talent, and his mind, and he was able to do something that is unique to him. No other MCs have really been in Nas's lane. Nas always been that delicate balance between the mainstream and the underground. You know what I'm saying? Those artists who try to be in the Nas lane, as far as dropping jewels and being conscious and all of that, they always fall into that underground backpack rapper. You know what I'm saying? They don't make it to that mainstream level.
Right.
And so Nas, he was never number one. He was never Jay-Z, Biggie, Eminem, Tupac status as far as accolades and record sales and all of that. But he was always a platinum artist. You know what I'm saying? He was always world renowned. You know what I'm saying? He always been multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? From like it was written on. You know what I'm saying? So he's unique in that way. And the thing about it, while he was doing all of that, he did it in a way where he never lost our respect. When I say our respect, I'm talking about grassroots.
Grassroots audience, right.
The real hip hop culture. Not the mainstream.
He was organic.
Right.
He was organic. Right. And he spoke truth to power. He didn't compromise. So you know what I mean? So basically when we looked for him to speak what we thought. He was a representative. He represented us. And we always knew he was going to put us first, And when we looked at Jay was all about the corporate interest. You know what I mean? Nas wasn't. Nas would have never signed with Hennessy. Nas didn't do alcohol, any endorsements with any of those corporate interests. That wasn't who Nas was. So then now we look up and we see, oh man, he's doing a deal with Hennessy. He's doing a deal over here. He's doing these things that he always spoke against. So it's kind of like, you went against the original man, the guy who we always looked at. The guy who represented us. So he basically, sold himself to the corporation.
Right. And you're right, because I could remember there was a show on MTV back in the days called The Diary.
Yep.
And they would have artists on there, and they would just follow the artists around while they was doing their promo stuff or whatever. And this was right before the Stillmatic album was about to drop. He was on the MTV Diary show, and he was in the back of the limo or whatever, whatever chauffeured around. He was getting phone calls from different companies, and one of them, his manager or whatever, was calling him saying, I think it was Budweiser, wanted to do something with him, and he was like, "Yo, no alcohol, no beer commercials, nah, son, nah, we ain't doing it." You know what I'm saying? He shot it down like, "Nah, we ain't doing that." So you're right.
Right. He never promoted that to our people, so. And he always spoke against that. He didn't do any business in that lane. And then when you think about the legacy of his dad, as a jazz legend, he carried that as far as the way he was able to, develop his skill set as a poet. He learned by, being in the company of other legends with his dad. So he was like a pure poet. He was totally different. That's why Illmatic, as you said before, and we realized Illmatic was a jazz album. That's where the connection come because of the root. His dad, the jazz, the root. His father said he would be outside, he would do poetry while his dad would play. He would pull up his notebook and he would recite different poems. So he was totally different when he came out with Illmatic.
Yes, indeed. And so, well, the part that I left off, I said King's disease might explain your actions, which ties directly into the next line right here. Let me go here. Y'all can see it on the screen, right? You can see it, right, RP?
Mm-hmm.
I can't deny you the greatest at this. King's disease might explain your actions. Like you got so big, you lost touch. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up, I love to see it. Ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius. Like the lyrical annotation app. Your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap.
Boom.
Mm.
Boom.
Mm.
Boom. Let's unpack that. Let's unpack that right there. So King's disease might explain your actions. Like you got so big, you lost touch. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up. I love to see it. Ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius. Like the lyrical annotation app. Your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap. All right, so before we get into the deep stuff, let me just give y'all some of the lyrical stuff that we're doing right here, right? So I already gave y'all the King's disease reference, and then I'm explaining why am I saying maybe King's disease could explain this, because it's like you got so big you lost touch. So when Nas's glow up came about not necessarily through music but through his investments. Nas started making some very, very smart investments. Right. He formed his Queensbridge venture capital with his partner Salah and I forgot the white dude's name, something Harowitz. They started making very dope investments for Nas. Right? So spread your wings to an angel investor. So what is an angel investor? These are the people down in Silicon Valley that find these startups and they put money behind people that have these great ideas in the tech industry. You know what I'm saying? So Nas put his money behind a lot of different up and coming tech companies.
The
Ring app that a lot of y'all got on your door now. You know what I'm saying? The Lyft company. I don't think
Bevel.
I heard somebody say the other day, what's the other car joint? Not Lyft, but Uber. Somebody said Uber, but I don't think it was Uber. I think it was Lyft that he invested in early. Bevel, which was the trimmers. Ben Harowitz. I think his name is Ben Harowitz. Thank you. Some name. A whole bunch of them. I can't even think of all of the companies that he invested in, but he started to get his weight up as an angel investor. So now he's going to the next level of his career outside of music, but still dealing with corporate. Because when you're dealing with the music industry, you're still dealing with corporate America. You know what I'm saying? These music record companies are corporate giants. And so now he's investing in these tech companies. Peace was going on, Aida.
Peace, Queen. Aida.
He's investing in these tech companies, and that's bringing him to a next level financially.
Right.
So now he's in different rooms. He's shaking hands with different people from different, the Ring app, we mentioned that.
Ring.
You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, and we in a different era now. We in a time of just political correctness on fleek, right? Where everything you say could be used against you in the court of public opinion.
Right.
Right? So let me try to slow walk this. Because again, we talked about throughout Nas's career, he had always been unapologetic, speaking truth to power.
Right.
But now we're in an era where some of your old material can come back to haunt you once you make it to a certain level. You see what they did with Kevin Hart when they brought up some of his old jokes of the LGBT community
on Twitter.
Right? When Eddie Murphy announced that he was going to be doing another stand-up, you started hearing some rumblings of they were talking about some of the things that he said on Raw and Delirious and all of that stuff, and he kind of fell back like, I don't know if I want to even do that. Right? So we're in that era now, you know, where they bringing up old stuff and saying, well, you homophobic, or you misogynistic, or you this, that, and the third, you anti this, or you anti that. And so now it's got a lot of material that they can pull from to try to use against him. And so it seems like as he started climbing up to this next level, some conversations were being had of like, yo, we're gonna have to switch up and, you know, soften up your stance on certain issues in order for us to be able to move and shake in these rooms, which is understandable. I'm not mad at that part of the game. Me personally, I'm not mad at that part in the game. You got to know how to move in a room full of vultures, right? But don't run interference for them. You know what I'm saying? Don't get on the team with them and start allowing them to use you to push their agenda and their narrative. Don't do that. That's where it becomes problematic. But if you want to say, look, I've been going hard my whole career, speaking truth to power. Right now, I'm just going to make some fun music that everybody can listen to, everybody can rock to, but I'm not going to be too controversial or offensive right now because I don't want to offend none of my business partners. I get that. I completely understand that. There's nothing wrong with that. Get your money, right? Well, I seen some of that taking place. Let me see where we at. I don't want to lose my thought. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up. I love to see it. Ain't no jealousy underneath it. Because if there's anybody that's watching this right now, whether you're watching us live or you're watching us on the replay, and you talking about, oh, y'all niggas is just hating. Oh, y'all niggas, you just a hater. Man, kill yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say about that, man. Because like I said, I can't. Nigga, Nas is my nigga, man. It ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. I love to see him blowing up the way that he blew up. He never got his just due. As far as compensation, financial compensation, or whatever the case may be, he never got what he truly deserved out of the music industry. So when I start seeing him making these big boss moves in the business world, I was proud and I still am proud. Right? But I can't ignore some of the other things that I've seen that came along with it. And that's the thing that I'm pointing out. Right? And so
what he stood for.
Like you got so big, you lost touch. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up.
I love to see it.
Ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. Then I said, your venture capital portfolio was pure genius. Now this is a play. This is some rap shit right here. Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. And so I told y'all I wanted y'all to log on to the Genius lyrical annotation app so that y'all can read the lyrics as we go through this.
Right. Facts.
Yes, indeed. Public opinion. Let me see what she said. Public opinion discredits personal growth for the convenience of others. Right.
Yep.
Shout out to PD Chicago. Gotta have foresight and
forethought. Peace.
I just said we on the money about Nasir. All right.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So, what was I? The venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. So, the name of the app that I told y'all to log into so that you can read our lyrics, it's a lyrical annotation app, and that's one of the companies that Nas invested in early through his venture capital portfolio. He invested in the Genius app. He's the one that helped it grow up. He's one of the main people that put the money behind it when it was a very small startup company. So that is a play on words on some lyrical shit, but it also is still dealing with what we're talking about. You know what I mean? Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. Y'all following me? I don't know if I broke that down clear enough. Am I making sense? Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. Your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap. I'm watching. I'm a big fan. I've been following your whole career. And so now I'm seeing these moves like, yo, My nigga is making some smart moves right now. He was able to maintain the career that I explained to y'all earlier by being compromising and unapologetic, still able to maintain a high level of success. And now moving into this corporate world through the venture capital investments, I'm like, this looked like one of the smartest niggas that came from rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it was a play on the Pure Genius, the Genius app, the lyrical annotation, which we are doing right now, the lyrical breakdown, deciphering the lyrics to the song as we continue.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to say something, RP?
Nah, I mean pretty much, like we all saying, when the money comes, it's like you get to see how much, that guy who standing on that soapbox, how long he's gonna stand there, and how long he's gonna maintain his original messaging and the group that he represents. Because the thing of it is, he's speaking for his core base, and then once he went corporate, he didn't really look back.
All right. As we proceed to give you what you need.
Annotation app, your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap, but you was caping for Asian hate. That propaganda put Black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention I fight for reparations. You rep for Asians. I question why.
Stop right there. Stop right there. And so one of the things that I had a problem with on the King's Disease, I think it was number 2. I think it was number 2 on a song called Store Run. Let me look that up real quick. Make sure I'm right and exact. I think the song was Store Run from King's Disease 2. Hold on, let me look that up. And so your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap. But you was caping for Asian hate. That propaganda put Black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention our fight for reparations, but you rep for Asians. I question why. And since we working on, we didn't get to that part yet. But you rep for Asians. I question why. And so let me see if I can find his exact lyrics to what I was talking about. Okay, here you go. So yeah, the song it's on verse 3. And this is another thing too. So the song is called Store Run, and it's on the King's Disease 2 album. And it's on verse number 3. Family, hold on. Yeah, let me put this on for y'all. Family, it is 2023. But look, it's 2023, family. Rap songs nowadays barely ever have a verse number 3 unless there's 3 artists on it. Most of the songs nowadays is 2 verses, the most. 3 verses, been out the window. And now when we look at verse 3, look, we got to give you the full analysis. When we look at verse number 3 on this song, it's not a full verse. It's not a full 16-bar verse. It's just a little piece that he threw in there. The song was already done. He could have stopped right here. Look at this song. Look at this song. Hold on. Look at this song. The song starts off. It got a little intro. It has a full verse 1, 16 bars. Then it has a hook. And then it has an interlude. And then it has a verse 2. Full verse 2, 16 bars. And then it has a chorus again and another interlude. And look how long the interlude is. The interlude is like damn near a whole verse itself. So then you're gonna throw in the 3rd verse. That raises my antennas a little bit, especially considering the content within the 3rd verse. Because this is where the violation comes into play. He said, I got the hood playing golf, wild ball style, crucifixes over the chrome heart. You get crossed out. People battered down. Asian hate getting passed around. Tiger happy, both his parents' lives matter now. So it seemed to me like his handlers told him to throw that in there because this song didn't need another verse. Like they were sitting around listening to the album, going through the album, and they was like, "Yo, man, you need to say something about this. Remember, you still got all this baggage from the nigga album that you did, and you know the Hip Hop Is Dead album.
Right.
Stuff that you were saying on these albums that can come back to haunt you in this current era that we're in this Me Too era, in this cancel culture era, and all it's a lot of stuff that can come back to haunt you, and so we need to clean some of that up. And so right now, and also some of his partners in the venture capital, the Queensbridge venture capital, are Indian, East Indian.
When is this Sunday?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Right, and so he's partnered up with some of these East Indians who are Asian. I know a lot of times when we think about East Indians, we don't think about Asians. Usually when people think about Asians, you think about Chinese, Japanese, Korean, you know what I'm saying? But East Indians are considered Asians, y'all. Right? And so this whole Asian hate propaganda was being pushed through the mainstream media. Joe Biden came and wrote the Asian hate crime bill and all
bill. Yep.
Asians and all of that. And all of the Asian hate was being placed on black people.
Right.
They were saying black people were the bigots. We were the haters. We were the ones that were perpetuating this Asian hate. They were putting out all of these different celebrities on all these talk shows and making them denounce Asian hate in the black community. Remember that? Young Jeezy, whole bunch of celebrities were being dragged out to say, yeah, man, black folks, man, we got to stop all this Asian hate. This shit ain't cool.
Yeah, that was during the same time when they was promoting that jab to us. It was all an agenda. An agenda.
And you kept seeing these videos coming out, these weird videos that look kind of staged, where Asians were getting attacked and mugged randomly by Negroes in New York and San Francisco. It seemed like these two cities were just the main places where Asians were getting bugged, by random Negroes, who most of them look non-FBA, by the way. Most of them were wearing like some of the same type of clothing a lot of people were pointing out, by the way. A lot of stuff was looking funny style about those videos. You know, people were questioning the validity of these videos. But those videos were being used as propaganda to get that Asian hate crime bill pushed and all that. And so, like I said, these celebrities were being pushed out to wag their finger at black society and tell us we got to stop the Asian hate. Meanwhile, you got black women getting beat up in all of these Asian hair salons and nail shops and all of that stuff. Beauty supply stores, they following you around.
Big time.
And all of that. Meanwhile, we ain't forget about little Latasha that was gunned down by the Asian lady at the corner store out there in LA. We ain't forget about that still. Right? But we're supposed to be the bigots and the haters. And so now Nas comes out co-signing this bullshit.
Yeah, that was like
in this unnecessarily long song where you got this third verse that you didn't need. So it seemed to me like the handlers kind of nudged them a little bit to throw something in there.
Yeah, Aida's right. It's damage control.
Exactly. I got the hood playing golf, wild ball style. Crucifixes over the chrome heart. You get crossed out. People battered down. Asian hate getting passed around. Tiger happy. Both his parents' lives matter now. And so that was funny style to me, man. I didn't like that. And some of y'all remember when King's Disease 2 album first came out, I was critical of it. When the King's Disease 2 album first came out, I ain't like it that much. I thought it was a dud. I was wrong. Let me just say that for the record. I was wrong. The album is still a dope album. You know what I mean? But when it first came out, I think it was stuff like this that was rubbing me the wrong way that I didn't want to like it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like shit like that. And so back to the lyrics. Where we at? Let me go back to my lyrics. Back to my lyrics here. So you was caping for Asian hate. That propaganda put Black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention I'll fight for reparations, but you rep for Asians. I question why. And so I kind of just explained what I meant by all of that. But like, yeah, why you not talking? It's a big reparations movement happening.
Going on, right?
It's a big it's a big push for reparations like we've never seen before happening right now. Why wouldn't you mention that?
You know what though? That's something I wanted to address too, and that kind of connected me to my issue with Talib, because during the whole time when we were on lockdown, it was like him and the Commons and all these guys, they weren't repping for us. They weren't creating records that was speaking to the powers. They were just going along with promoting the poisons, and I'm like, yo, you guys represent us, and you guys aren't doing. You guys are compromised. And so when you said that lyric, it just really, I was like, you know what? That's exactly it. So when me and him had that back and forth online, it was like that was the basis of it, because I went a little deeper into it. Like you said, you're not repping for the reparations. You're not standing against what's going on with these jabs in our neighborhoods. Y'all are not speaking truth to power. Y'all are all sold out.
Hip hop has always been about rebellion from its inception.
Right.
Hip hop was a rebellious culture. We have always been, not everybody who's in the hip hop, not all the artists, but artists like the ones that we're talking about in this record, Nas, Common, Talib, these guys were always known to speak to the issues that were happening in the community.
Exactly.
Not just them, but others. Like somebody mentioned Chuck D earlier. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, we expect, like what Nina Simone said, how can you be an artist and not speak to the times?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so we went through a whole entire pandemic and we ain't hear nothing from hip hop.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody said nothing.
You know what though? You know who spoke and said it? I was thinking it. And it was the cat who I least expected. It was what's that guy? Michael Rappaport. And he came out and he said something online, and he was like, yo, where's the records? Where's the music that's speaking? He was like, we're all locked down. He was like, why are you guys not speaking against this stuff? Why aren't y'all exposing what y'all know? And he was like, I'm looking for you guys to represent. And he was like, there's no music. And as he was saying it, I was thinking it. All that time, I was looking. Where are the records? Where are the records that, like you said, that speak to the times and the conditions of our people? That can liberate us, that can uplift us while we're going through these hard times. We're on lockdown. We don't know what's going on, right? We got this so-called virus going around. We seeing what's going on with the propaganda. And, these guys are our voices. They're supposed to represent us.
Right. And I can't stand Michael Rappaport, but he's
right. Oh, I don't like him. Yeah, I don't like him. But I was shocked when he said it, because I was thinking it all that time. I was like, what's up with the music? Where are our voices?
Right. So niggas wasn't saying nothing.
Nope.
Niggas wasn't saying nothing. And I'm like, Nas dropped all this new music, right? Nas never dropped this much music back to back through his whole career. Nas has been very prolific over the last 4 or 5 years releasing music, and you ain't talking about the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
You have nothing to say about the elephant in the room.
Facts, Aida. Yes, they were getting paid. Yep, she's right.
All right, the propaganda put Black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention our fight for reparations. You rep for agents. I question why.
Why?
So the last part of that verse, let me get it pulled up. The last part of that verse, can you see it on the screen? Not yet. Let me put it on the screen. Boom.
For reparations, you rep for Asians. I question why. And since you working on the hip hop museum, Latinos and Caribbeans claiming our culture, you agreeing? Or will you?
On the foot down, represent to the fullest. On the foot down, represent to the fullest. On the foot down, represent to the fullest.
You with this black.
Hold on. Hold on. Before the Baba speaks. Baba speaks, we're going to talk about that last part of the verse, but also if you could, man, Talk about the acoustic version, the choice to do that acoustic version right there, man. That shit is just.
Well, like I said earlier, with the direction that we took originally when I made the track, it was a hard track, and it just had that jazz vibe, but it was more street. So as we started digging into the project, and I started pulling from different inspirations, Miles Davis and John Coltrane and things that I was watching, like documentaries and things that were around me. I started digging into looking at adding that more of a lush sound, more of the strings and more of the pianos, and really digging deep. So more about the melody and the feeling this time. This album is a lot more musical than The Spear and the Shield, which was the album that we released before the Masters Table. And so, it took shape. And as it took shape, as I started pulling away the drums and the percussion sounds, it just sounded so good just to hear all the instrumentation that I had brought into the table. And it just felt like a beautiful jazz suite. And from records like The Fort, records like Sunshine, and there are other records that I created acoustic versions to, and I believe we're actually going to release some of those versions for everybody's family to hear them, and you'll get to hear all of the instruments that are in the sound bed, and it's like a beautiful thing, it just really, it's inspirational. So that's what it was. It was like, as I was peeling away the percussion and the drums, all the sounds started coming out. And then I said to Sincere, I was like, you know what? We need to do some acoustic versions of some of these records, man. The people need to hear them.
And so did you mention that we got a couple more?
Yeah, I told them we're gonna let them hear some stuff,
Yeah, we got a couple more versions like that where RP and Portier, our engineer, went in there and stripped the records down and just took it to another level. That was just something different. When I first got sent those, I'm like, nigga.
Yeah, the acoustic versions.
What we doing here?
Yeah, it went from, and I say this to like all my hip hop heads. This album, it just transcended from making a song, making a beat to I got into a zone where I started composing records. I started bringing in different instrument players and just adding different pieces in with live sound. So it just it went to a whole nother space, than what it was originally, and that's where the beauty is. So when people listen, it's a beautiful sound. So it doesn't even need drums. It's just a beautiful sound.
And for real, I want to really thank you for that also, just for having, the foresight, the insight to even go there with it, because that's something, that's a space that I've always wanted to be in anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like most people that know me personally, that know me for a long time, they know I'm not just a hip hop head. I'm a lover of music. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lover of the frequencies that you can get from music and the vibrations and the places that it can take you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so even though I'm a hip hop artist, rap music is not my favorite genre. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because even though it's the most influential and all of that stuff, sonically it still has its limitations if you limit it, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're proving that it can be expanded. You know what I'm saying? And other artists have done so over the years. The Tribes and the the Gangstar's and certain people, even Kendrick with the To Pimp a Butterfly album, and Kanye has done some things that shows that hip hop doesn't have to be contained in this box. It can be expanded and be something that's more beautiful than any of us had previously imagined. And so when you took it to that level with those acoustic versions, man, I was just grateful to be a part of something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Yeah, it's something that is just it transcends. It's like you said, like we've all been influenced by different genres and styles, and like jazz for me is something that was a dominant sound in my house with my dad, Grover Washington Jr. and Miles Davis and these guys. So I always listened to a lot of that. Then with the soul and the R&B, I was always into the harmony and melody and having that plushness and that frequency always stood out, and it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good.
And so we're gonna get back into the lyrics in a second, but just to give y'all the full feeling of what we're talking about, I'm gonna play the first verse straight through up to the hook, and we'll get into the second verse and start breaking that down. I know I still got to break down that last line from the first verse too, but I want to play it straight through so that we can all catch a vibe real quick and just get into this acoustic version, man.
That's what this is about. You talking to the fucking master, man. I said it ain't about entertainment.
Listen, I was disappointed hearing Nas rhyme with Lil Nas X. I realized these guys never valued our respect. Still, you my favorite rapper. I can't deny you the greatest at this. King's disease might explain your actions. Like you got so big, you lost touch. Spread your wings to an angel investor. My nigga bossed up, I love to see it. Ain't no jealousy hidden underneath it. Your venture capital portfolio was pure genius, like the lyrical annotation app. Your ways and actions made you look like you the smartest nigga that came from rap. But you was caping for Asian hate. That propaganda put black America in a scope. Inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention I fight for reparations. You rep for Asians, I question why. And since you working on the hip-hop museum, Latinos and Caribbeans claiming our culture, you agreeing? Or will you?
Hold the foot down, represent to the fullest. Hold the foot down, represent to the fullest. Hold the foot down, represent to the fullest.
You with this mic here.
And another thing I forgot to mention too, when I said that propaganda put Black America in a scope. That's a play on the word Interscope, the record company Interscope as well. You know what I'm saying? So I had to point that out also. But inflation rates got us getting gentrified. I thought you would mention our fight for reparations. You rep for Asians. I question why. And since you're working on a hip hop museum, Latinos and Caribbeans claiming our culture, you agreeing? And so, as y'all know, this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop. There's a lot of different events that are going on all around the world. Hip hop is going to be in the Olympics this year. They got all types of corporate sponsored events that's going to be happening, taking place all over the world. And one of the main things is going to be, I believe they're going to be doing the grand opening on August 11th, which is the official birthday of hip hop, of the museum in the South Bronx, which Nas is a big part of that project. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 years. They've been building it and promoting the opening of that museum, the coming opening of that museum for the last 2 or 3 years. They've been talking about it a lot. So I said, and since you're working on a hip hop museum, Latinos and Caribbeans claiming our culture, you agreeing? That's a question. Or will you hold the fort down and represent to the fullest? Right? And so I hate to sound like I'm just painting with a broad brush, or I just saying Latinos and Caribbeans, because it's not all of our Latino brothers, it's not all of our Caribbean brothers who are on the bullshit, but we are addressing the ones that have been on the bullshit. People like Busta Rhymes, people like Crazy Legs,
Fat Joe,
and others who, for some reason, as we've been approaching this 50th anniversary of hip hop, have been going out of their way to say that hip hop is not, it was imported to us from the Caribbean, and it basically was the Jamaicans and the Puerto Ricans that came up with hip hop. Right? That's been like the basic narrative, false narrative that's been kind of being pushed out there, right? And we've been checking it. we've been checking it heavy, and we've been checking it with receipts. And so it's not about foundational Black Americans versus Caribbeans or Puerto Ricans or whatever the case may be. It's just about correcting the narrative and telling the truth about the history of the culture and where it actually comes from. Because all of this tethering and displacement nonsense is not going to be tolerated.
It's not going to be accepted, especially Busta Rhymes. And my thing is with him, he should know better, because at the end of the day, he got his name, Busta Rhymes, was given to him by Chuck D. So when you're talking about the FBA influence, his family came here. He lived in Long Island. He lived in Uniondale, Long Island. So, he basically came in here and he learned the culture. He fed off it. He was given the opportunity by FBA folks, and they gave him his name, his very essence. So he should always honor that, instead of him trying to rewrite the history and disrespect our founding fathers like that.
And this is the thing about just FBA culture in general, not just with hip hop, but just FBA culture in general. We've always been embracive. Am I saying right? We've always embraced everyone, regardless to whom or what. You know what I'm saying? Only when it comes to hip hop, it was only one requirement to get down, and that was that you had to be dope.
Yep.
You had to be dope, and you had to be original.
Yep.
Right? You couldn't be a biter or nothing like that. You had to be dope, and you had to be original, and you could rock with us. We never had a problem with that. We never had a problem sharing it. And to a certain degree, that has been to our detriment.
Yes, it has.
We should have been doing a certain level of gatekeeping in order to keep the narrative straight. But we didn't realize that we were dealing with hostile enemies at certain junctures. You know what I'm saying? Like some of these people that we were allowing to come in and participate, these were hostile enemies that we were unaware of. Because we just looking at this like it's a universal get down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just something that came so naturally from us. It wasn't, we felt the need to gatekeep. Kind of like, when you talk about some of the native cultures, when the Europeans first came over and they were talking about exchanging like little trinkets for the land and things of that nature, the natives were like, land, like who owns land? You can't own the land. Like the land, they didn't look at the land like it was something that you could own. It was just for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So okay, cool, you gonna give me? I'll take that. You want the land? What you want next? You want to buy the sky too? Like they thought it was funny to them, and that's kind of like the same with us. It just came so naturally from us. We didn't feel like it was something that needed to be safeguarded and gate kept. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we were like, oh yeah, sure. It's all of our culture. Everybody created it.
Right.
But that was a mistake on our behalf. We should have put up some gates and laid down some ground rules. Not that we shouldn't allow people to participate, but we should have had some ground rules and not just allow people to come into the house and put their feet up on the furniture and just leave the dishes in the sink. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We should have had some ground rules to safeguard our culture. You know what I mean? And put our stamp on it, because it is something that has become what we know as the most influential force on the planet.
Right. And the thing is, like you said, with the museum, it's like now with that is that now they could try to twist and rewrite the history. So now if we didn't be based on the fact that, like you said, we didn't gatekeep anything and we didn't maintain the history as far as from a written perspective. Now, when we go to that museum, we don't know what we're in for in terms of what's going to be presented to us as our history.
Right.
It's definitely going to be corporate influenced.
Right.
So we don't know what we're in for when we go visit that museum.
Right. And the thing about it is, I know Nas, what I'm saying, he has great relationships with a lot of these guys. He's friends with the Fat Joes and the Busta Rhymes and all that stuff. You should be able to check your friends.
That's another thing. That's another thing with Grandmaster Caz, because remember when he came out and he said, look, it is an FBA thing. And then once he started getting, backlash, then he came out and he changed his tune because he didn't want to offend his friends. So he compromised the history on that. You know?
But I don't know if you heard it, but he doubled back again after that and further clarified and made it clear that it is FBA culture. And yeah, he had Puerto Ricans down with his crew, but it was just one or two, and they were getting backlash from their people for getting down with us.
Right at that time, yeah.
What's my man name? The DJ, the Puerto Rican DJ that was down with him. What's his name?
Forgot his name.
Shit.
Damn. I know you're talking about.
DJ that was down with Cass. Shit, what's his name? I forgot his damn name. Somebody in the chat might remember his name. But he even told a story where he talked about how he had to fight other Puerto Ricans because they was like, what you doing all this nigga music for? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He running around with Cass and them, and the Puerto Ricans was getting on him like, yo, what you doing with the niggas? And he had to fight. He had to fight. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like this was their culture and they brought it to us. It's like, nah, y'all were the first observers.
Right. We were already
in the culture.
Right. This was already ongoing. The party was already ongoing. Right. Shout out to Nine Nichols. Crazy Leg said the Disco King Mario was Puerto Rican. We know that wasn't true. And that's a prime example of what I'm saying is trying to rewrite the history. Disco King Mario came before Bam and all of them. And they used to come to his parties to hear him spin. Kool Herc used to come to his parties. And what they did was they basically wrote him out of history. But he was the one who started all the parties out there. Disco King Mario. If you look at his history, you look at the timeline, you know, he was there before Flash and them. He was DJing and doing the parties before them. Right. So that's the thing. But I bet you they won't have that history in that museum giving him his props. You know? So it's yeah.
And they definitely should. And I believe his family is from North Carolina or South Carolina.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But Nah Nichols. Grand Mixer DXT, and Grand Mixer DXT is a brilliant brother. And I love to hear him talk about the history of hip hop because he puts things in their proper perspective. Grand Mixer DXT is one of the few pioneers when telling the history of hip hop. He doesn't tell this myth and this fairy tale. He talks about it holistically. You know what I'm saying? And so I know he was half Puerto Rican or whatever the case may be, but that's neither here nor there. Right. Just like with the Kool Herc thing, the fact that Kool Herc is Jamaican is really neither here nor there because he wasn't practicing Jamaican culture. He didn't bring the culture from Jamaica over here to us. He just happened to be somebody from Jamaica, but he was engulfed into the culture that he was surrounded by in the Bronx. He came to the Bronx as a child. I think he was like 12, 13 years old when he came over here or something. It's not like a grown man that came over here and was like, yo, let me put y'all on. This is how we get down in Jamaica. Like, no. When he came over, he grew up around us. He became ingratiated with our culture and our expression. You know
and that's the thing. That's the thing. So when you talk about like Disco King Mario, we already had, like you said, we already had DJs out there. Parties were already ongoing. The dance and the culture was already established. So, you know, you didn't create anything. You came here, you saw what was going on, you were inspired and influenced by what we had going on. And that's the same with that's the same with the blues, that's the same with jazz, that's the same with the bebop. We always had something going on. That's our culture. That's who we are.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And
so stop trying to write us out.
Look, Bob Marley is half white. So does that mean reggae is white culture?
Right.
That's the same logic. Like that don't make no sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of Asians who owned a lot of the record companies in Jamaica in the early form of
during that time.
A lot of Asian musicians, drummers, and instrumentalists were Asian, and the people that owned the record companies and the record stores were Asians. So does that mean that it's their culture? No, that would be disrespectful.
Right. Nine Nichols is saying hip hop evolved from the Negro spiritual. Yes, it evolved from that. Plantation, blues. We were singing the blues and you know the hymns and the gospel and the spoken word, and it evolved. And that's
the only thing that was new in the early 70s and the late 60s was the terminology and the culmination of those elements. All of the elements already existed. They just didn't exist under one umbrella.
Right.
People were already doing the dances. People were already DJing. People were
rapping.
already People were already doing the graffiti. It just wasn't called hip hop, and it wasn't pulled under one umbrella. That's the only thing that was unique that took place in the Bronx. Is all of those different elements that were already a part of foundational Black American culture came together under one umbrella and one expression. That's the only difference, based on the circumstances, from the poverty and all of that stuff that they were experiencing in the Bronx at that time. Based on those circumstances, not being allowed to get into the clubs and not being accepted in mainstream society, having to go underground, having to be using their ingenuity to make things pop. The music programs being taken out of the schools, and people not playing instruments anymore. Because before that, remember what was our expression before that? It was the jazz, it was the funk, and all of that. It's because we knew how to play instruments. Because there was more programs in the schools. You had more availability to learn how to play the instruments, whether it was through the church or through the school programs or whatever. But when we lost that ability, we just tapped into our ingenuity and said, well, shit, we're going to put these turntables together. You know what I'm saying?
And we're gonna use the spoken word. We're gonna use the spoken word. We played the dozens. We're gonna play the dozens. We'll take this microphone and we'll go over these funky beats. And then we'll have a conversation. We'll talk to our party people. We'll amp the crowd. We become masters of ceremony, right? Yes, call the title MC. But that's something we always did, like you said.
And that's a fact, Rashid. I've posted those clips plenty of times with the original ska and reggae artists talking about how they were influenced by Black Americans when they were coming over here, working in the sugarcane fields and the produce, agriculture sector down in Florida and all that. When they're coming over here doing that work, linking up with the Black Americans, they were getting our records, our blues records, our jazz records, our R&B records, bringing that back home. They were talking about how the records were more of a commodity than the money that they were making working in the fields.
And then when they started recording, they were doing cover songs of our records. And they say that, like you said, in those videos.
Exactly. We started beatboxing and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yes, indeed. And so that was a lot for 2 bars, but let's get into the second part. We still decoding the Fort off of the Masters Table album. If you haven't had a chance to check out the Masters Table album yet, it's available on all streaming platforms. But if you really want to rock with us and support the movement, then you want to go to www.themastersrsvp.com. There, you can place your order to get the digital download, the physical copies, get your hoodies, get your posters. As soon as we get these things fixed up properly for y'all and all that, get your posters, or you can get the canvas prints also that go on the wall. Real nice stuff. So that's the website right there. But as we proceed to give you what you need, let's get into verse 2. Baba Dick Gregory, what you got to say, fam?
You with this mic here can do more to change things than Hollywood.
Seem like all the greatest rappers turn boule now. Male hair units, that's the new toupee now. Beijing the beard just to cover up the gray now. Is it too much for me to ask of you to stay down? Shout out to Ice Cube, he the realest. But who's Talib Kweli's ventriloquist? He's compromised ever since Common got with Angela Rye. He been shilling for the Democrats, I can't even lie.
Let's stop right there, jeez. Let's stop right there, man. Let's stop right there. All right. So, Baba Dick Gregory made an excellent point. You with this microphone here have the power to change things more than Hollywood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so that hearing those type of words from people like him, from Minister Farrakhan, who's said things like that in the past about how, you know, the rappers are more important than the ministers and all of that. That makes me feel a great deal of responsibility when it comes to what we do as MC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, it's, you know, we gotta live up to that responsibility and make sure that we are saying what needs to be said.
Right.
Regardless of what.
I think KRS-One had a line like that. He said, "You think I'm gonna grab this mic and waste my nation's time?" You know, and when he said that, it was like it impacted me. It was like, you don't understand how powerful this position that I'm holding and what it is and how it influences the next generation. You know, how it can impact us now and in the future. My words have power. So I'm given a great responsibility in order to MC. It's a great responsibility.
And we understand the power of the word, the power of the spoken word. You know what I'm saying? Whether you want to go spiritual or religious, biblical, or whatever the case may be, they always talk about the word is what brings forth the reality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
In the beginning was the word.
Exactly. And rap music in particular uses a lot of words. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of words in rap songs, especially in the early days when they had 15 verses and 1,000 bars per verse. You know what I'm saying? But even when you look at just a typical, 16 bars, you know, that's a lot of words.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's a lot of responsibility that comes with what we do. And so verse 2, man, I said it seemed like all the greatest rappers turn boule now. And so I know a lot of y'all should be familiar with the Boule Society and all of that. These Black Greek societies who were made to be the buffer classes in Black society. These Greek organizations that they have in these HBCUs and some of these universities or whatever the case may be, that a lot of the bougie class Negroes have gone through in order to get ingratiated with the dominant society, in order to get certain positions to work basically as overseers to the rest of us. You know, I mean, a lot of our Black politicians and some of the people that they prop up as our leaders, and even a lot of the entertainers and musicians, all that, you know what I'm saying? And so I said, it seemed like all the greatest rappers turn boule now. These niggas getting awful bougie. Like we were saying earlier, like we just went through a whole pandemic. Y'all niggas ain't saying nothing. That's not hip hop. That's not hip hop not to say nothing. That's like, you know, y'all niggas is compromised. It's like y'all took an oath or something.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Like Aida was saying, and she's right. You know, a lot of them, you know, their silence, they were brought out. You know, they were definitely compromised. They took the check. So, you know, it was brought and paid for. That silence was brought and paid for. You know, it's a fact.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Right. Nine Nickels is dropping it in the chat, man. Shout out to Nine Nickels in the chat.
Yeah.
How can you be the creator when they got constantly sample our music? It's more creative to create something from scratch. Right. That's the thing. That's another thing about us too, man. We're constantly creating things and recreating things over and over again. It's like when you look at Caribbean culture, you got like 3 genres that just been the same genres for decades. This is basically the whole time, right? You got reggae music, dancehall music, which is pretty much dancehall is just like the reggae version of rap. Right? And you got not ska, you got ska, but what's the music that they play over there in Trinidad?
Soca
music and all, and that's really it. You look at Foundational Black Americans, it done went from Negro spirituals to the gospel to the blues to every popular form of music that came out of America. It came from Foundational Black Americans.
It came from my pain. It came from our suffering and our experiences here, you know, and it was our expression. So that's our expression, and it's not something that we garnered from anyone else. That was our expression, and that was a way for us to celebrate our life, even though we were going through the hard times, under the whip. That was our way out. We sang those spirituals. We held hands. As Nine Nickel said, we made beats on tables. We used our voice. Some of us used our heart for the drum beat and drum patterns. So that was our expression. We are we are children of the sun. We are people of the drum.
Yes, indeed. All right. So, well, seems like all the greatest rappers turn boule now. Male hair units. That's the new toupee now. Beijing the beard just to cover up the gray now. And so I'm just talking about, us watching some of our favorite MCs age in this thing of ours, you know what I'm saying, and go through the different phases or whatever the case may be. And so it's just really just some rap shit right there, talking about the comparison between the toupees and also still dealing with that boule mentality, right? The boule with the toupees trying to cover up the baldy and all of that. So you see it now when people putting on the male hair units and going extra hard with the black spray and the Beijing and all that shit, trying to cover up the grays and all that, stay looking young and all of that. But it's like, but Nas though, in particular though, Nas, one thing I will say about Nas, man, Nas has aged very gracefully in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like physically and just as far as his career and all of that. Like he's a case study in how to really go about aging gracefully in the sport of rap. You know what I mean? He's a case study. Right. I mean, he's doing things that are unprecedented after 30 years in the game, going on the type of run that he's on right now. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen that before. You know what I mean? So
right.
I will salute him on that. But is it too much for me to ask of you to stay down? Shout out to Ice Cube. He the realest. I gotta give Ice Cube his props because Ice Cube is like the only one who ain't never switch up.
Nope, he stayed true.
He ain't never switch up. We could pull up Ice Cube interviews from the NWA days to when he left NWA and he was running around with Dr. Khalid Muhammad and the Nation and all of that. We could pull up the interviews from that era and pull up the interviews from today, and it still sound like the same dude.
Facts.
And he's another one who has managed that high level of mainstream success in business and music and the movie industry without compromising himself. He knew how to move in a room full of vultures without compromising himself. You know what I'm saying? And so we still seeing him do his thing now, making big deals with the big three. The contract for Black America that he did with the NFL. Can't do nothing but salute him for that, because that don't even have anything to do with him on the business side. That's not even something that he's making money off of. This is something that he put in place so that Black society at large can benefit from. Contract with Black America. We broke that down on the show a couple of times too. Y'all got to go back and watch the shows to get all the details on that. But gotta salute Ice Cube, man. Ice Cube ain't never switch up.
Yep. Facts.
Cube is keeping it real, even with great success and longevity. Exactly.
Yep. Exactly.
Exactly. He's a case study on how this thing is done. You ain't gotta kiss ass. You ain't gotta go along to get along. He spoke up against the jab.
Yes, he did, and he refused it too.
He refused to take the jab. He lost some movie deals and all that because he didn't want to take the jab.
He lost millions
publicly. In some of his interviews and all of that. You know, he shook things up during the election season when he was introducing the contract with Black America, and he said he wanted to sit down and speak with both parties, talking about what we're going to do for Black America specifically.
Reparations.
You know, upholding the work of Dr. Claude Anderson, you know, sitting down with grassroots media. I seen him on Dr. Boy's show, I think, a couple of times, sitting down with grassroots media and having these conversations and all that. Gotta salute Ice Cube, man.
Facts.
Shout out to Ice Cube, he the realest. But who's Talib Kweli's ventriloquist? He's compromised.
Compromise.
So go ahead. You were going to tell us earlier about the back and forth with you and Talib Kweli.
I mean, you know, I kind of rambled in on it earlier, but you know, during the time when, you know, that jab and what was going on with that, I heard him do an interview with I believe it was Joe Budden, and he was talking about I approve of it, I endorse it, and I believe he said he was getting it, or I don't remember if he had said that he got the jab at that time, but he was like trying to preach for us to go and consider getting it, and they had like this big debate on the interview, and it kind of disappointed me because, you know, listening to Black Star and, you know, supporting him over the years, and his messaging was always about natural healing. He was one of the first that I heard talk about Dr. Sebi and, you know, focus on, you know, that particular, you know, path for your health and healing for our people. So when he said that, it kind of threw me for a loop, and I'm like, yo, this guy's really, you know, he's not repping us anymore. And I realized that.
And as Ali, go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
because I was gonna say the funny shit about Kweli is, like we were saying earlier about Nas and Ice Cube, how they managed a high level of success without really too much compromising. Kweli don't even got that type of high level success like that. Like Talib Kweli has always just been an underground artist. He probably got one or two hit records to his name, and that's because of Kanye West.
Basically.
You know what I'm saying? But Talib Kweli is not a multi-platinum artist and nothing. He ain't not top Billboard charter, or you know what I'm saying? You know, got all the accolades and all of that stuff. So, like, what the hell is going on with him? Like, what you?
Yeah, he's like
he's not even getting the butter biscuits, nigga.
He's like, he's flip flopping, and so our whole conflict came on Instagram, because when he started outwardly attacking Kanye at the time when Kanye was speaking truth to power. So, you know, basically it was a whole bunch of people that was, you know, on him, and he started calling us black Nazis. Right. You know, and so, you know, and I went at him. I said, you know, it's interesting that you would call me that. I said, but you were one of the ones pushing that jab. I said, you haven't representing anything for us. You're not a voice for your people anymore. And it got under his skin, and he kept insulting me and many others back and forth. And, you know, he showed his true colors, you know, him and, you know, that whole crew, Common and most of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. But who's Talib Kweli's ventriloquist?
He's compromised.
Ever since Common got with Angela Rye, he been shilling for the Democrats. I can't even lie. And that's true, man, because Common is another one. You go back to Common's old material, he was dropping knowledge, heavy knowledge. Like,
heavy
you know
knowledge, yo.
I learned about Assata Shakur through Common.
Through Common, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He did a whole song about Assata Shakur, you know what I mean? He was talking about Fred Hampton and all of these people, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Panthers, all that.
And again, but the majority of his career was spent basically on the underground backpack circuit until he got with Kanye.
Right.
Kanye took his career to the next level also. You know what I mean? He started getting recognition after he started working with Kanye. Then he started moving into the movie side of things and all of that. And then eventually, you know, he got into the relationship with Angela Rye, who we know is a Democratic shill. And then he started switching up just entirely his stance.
Big time.
Endorsing people like what's that dude? He's the politician out there in Jersey. I ain't gonna be able to think of his name right now either. Bussy something we call him. Cory Booker.
Yeah, Cory Booker. Yeah,
endorsing like the Cory Bookers and pushing heavy for Hillary Clinton. When
she that was bad. Yeah, that was bad.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just like very disappointing from people like him. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, it's like, even again, just stay out the way.
Yeah, just get out the way, bro. Like you killing it. You're killing yourself.
Like, if you're not gonna ride, fine. Corny Bussy.
Yo, the chat is going in.
If you're not
Facts.
fine.
Facts.
You ain't gonna
Facts.
say nothing about reparations. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? But just stay out the way.
You know what's funny? You know what? Nicety Girl is. You right, because Kanye is funny. She said that, and that's why I approached him, because Kanye made these guys. She's right. And when he started speaking up, they were nowhere near. They didn't support him. They didn't have his back. All these guys, he helped their careers. Indeed. He gave them. He made hit records for them guys. And when he was speaking truth to power, they went against him. They were working for the enemy against him.
Kanye is the artist that removed the stigma of being a backpack rapper.
Right.
He made it cool to be that type of rapper who could still go mainstream. Because remember, Kanye's first couple of albums, he was like one of those backpack
with that. Yeah.
But he was multi-platinum though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because his innovation, his vision, and the way he was doing with the samples and all of that, he knew how to make a hit record and still be in that zone,
in that lane, right?
Dropping knowledge and all that, right?
Right.
And so he took Freeway, put him on tracks with Mos Def, like he said in the round, right?
Right.
He took Talib Kweli and matched them up with like Jay-Z, and you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He made those things make sense.
Make it happen.
One of the early records that he produced when he was doing the Ghost production for Dead Prez, Jay-Z did the remix to that song.
Hip hop.
Not the hip hop song. It was another one. But Jay-Z's on the song with Dead Prez. And Kanye was the Ghost producer on that record. And that was one of the first times we seen that type of mashup. You know what I mean? With a mainstream artist like Jay-Z doing a song with Dead Prez. You know
Jay-Z was also on the Get By remix with Talib
with Talib Kweli. So yeah, Kanye was the bridge to bring a lot of those backpack rappers into the mainstream. And then he literally breathed life into these guys' careers specifically by going in on the production side. Talib Kweli, Twister.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Twister ain't got nothing to do with this, but I'm just saying a lot of these artists who were, not really.
They were done. They were done. Yeah. They were done pretty much. Because like you said, once he achieved that success and then he started putting a stamp on them, he was able to cross them over onto his side. And then he was able to open those doors for them and bring them on big tours and help these guys eat. And like Nicely said, they all flipped on him.
Right. I think they fixed that part up, Aida, him and Dame. I think they got right as far as that. But you're right. That's how that went down in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But
he financed Dame. He and he, and Dame said it. He was like, yo, Kanye, if it wasn't for him, he was like, Kanye financed my movies. He was like, and remember when Kanye was originally on Drink Champs the first time, he was like, yo, I take care of Dame. He was like, that's nothing for me.
Yeah,
he was like, I owe him.
He balked on Steve Rifkin.
Yeah.
In that article, Steve Rifkin says something about him giving money to Dame Dash. He
right.
Give money to Dame Dash or something like that. And he was like, hey, you didn't tell me what I could do for my brother.
Right.
Yeah. He went in.
Yeah.
So I think him and Dame got right.
That's a fact.
Where we at with these lyrics, though? Shout out to Ice. Who's Talib Kweli's ventriloquist? He's compromised. Ever since Common got with Angela Rye, he been chilling for the Democrats. I can't even lie. Okay, so next part right here. Let's go to the next part. Where we at? Yeah. Go here. All right, put this up here. Boom. Aida just don't like Jay-Z. That's all that is.
For the Democrats, I can't even lie. And y'all align with so-called street politicians like Tamika Mallory and Mike Song Lennon.
Should we just stop right there? Do I even need to say anything about that? Y'all align with so-called street politicians like Tamika Mallory and Mike Song Lennon. Do I even need to say anything about that right there? If you're not sure who Tamika Mallory and Mike Song Lennon are, good. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. It's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. They're insignificant. Let's just say that. If you do know about Tamika Mallory and Mike Son Lennon, but you're not sure what the problem is, you can go back and look at some of the previous episodes of Sincere Love the Godcast. But I will really point you in the direction of my brother TD Hip Hop. Shout out to TD Hip Hop. TD Hip Hop has done some excellent exposés on some of their violations. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, man, basically, you know, these are the new versions of the Al Sharptons. You know what I mean? These are the new versions of the Jesse Jacksons and, you know, the misleadership that is sponsored by corporate America, that is
paid for,
that is promoted and co-signed by the mainstream media. You know, these are the new versions. These are the younger generation of that whole game that's been ran on us, and we can't continue to fall for that type of nonsense, man. And so that's the thing I'm talking about. Like a lot of the rappers, when they want to try to seem black, when they want to try to seem like they grassroots or they down, that's as far as they'll go. They'll align themselves with Tamika Mallory and My Son Lennon to try to look like they down with
give them a call.
Lives Matter and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how they try to get their cosigns up these days.
Shout out to Second Son.
Wow.
Shout out to Second Son in the building.
Peace to the God, Second Son. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Incompetent operative class. There you go.
Facts.
There you go.
Facts.
All right.
One, Chicago.
And y'all align with so-called street politicians like Tamika Mallory and My
Son Lennon.
CIP and Killer Mike, who was y'all kidding? Diddy held the vote hostage for all of 5 minutes.
Diddy held the vote hostage for all of 5 minutes. Like Tamika Mallory and My Son Lennon. CIP and Killer Mike, who was y'all kidding? And so some people say, damn, CIP and Killer Mike, I thought they was cool. They cool. I ain't saying they ain't cool. But they was feeling the burn kind of heavy for me, though. It was some Bernie Sanders shit kind of heavy for me, though.
Yeah, they were loving the burn.
Mike was. And then T.I., T.I. to me, T.I., and Killer Mike. Both of them, I don't put them like on the coon train or nothing like that. But those are people who are out for their own best interest. It's a combination between that and being confused at the same time. Killer Mike is not confused. But Killer Mike, he speaks to his own interests, and that's as far as he's gonna take the blackness. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's not gonna affect what he got going on with his businesses in Atlanta and all of that stuff, then he cool. But when it starts to affect him, now it's a problem. Because I remember him and 2 Chainz was at one of these meetings out there when they were talking about Hard Rock Cafe and all of these big businesses that were moving in to the area where their businesses were going to be displaced, and they weren't going to be able to compete with some of these corporations. And there was a law or ordinance or something that was being either passed or removed that was going to allow this to happen, and it was going to affect their business specifically. It's not like it was going to be anything about the homelessness in Atlanta and all of the other problems that affect, the black masses throughout Atlanta and Georgia in general. It was something that was going to affect T.I., Killer Mike, and 2 Chainz specifically as far as their businesses are concerned. So it wasn't about getting justice for black people. It was about, don't do this to us. We the ones that help y'all get the votes that y'all need. That's what they were saying. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, when y'all need the black vote, y'all come to us. And we done did a good job for y'all. So don't allow this to happen, because this is going to affect our business personally, specifically. Right? And so I had a problem with that. So TIP and Killer Mike, who was y'all kidding? And then Diddy, of course. Come on, Diddy. Mr. Rock the Vote himself, vote or die himself. You know what I mean? He came out during, I think it was the last election, presidential election, when he was talking about we holding the vote hostage and all of that. He started trying to speak our language for a hot second. He came out trying to speak our language for a hot second. And then, you know, a little bit of heat came down on him, and he was like, "No, I'm not saying don't vote."
Compromise. Mm-hmm.
He switched up real quick. So I was like, Diddy held the vote hostage for all of 5 minutes. Did I play the next part?
Aida said my son scammed all of Harlem.
Right. I ain't even hear about that, Aida. I ain't even hear about that. And me and him have had our back and forths online also.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few online interactions also.
He tried to steal from us, Aida.
That was another thing. He was trying to act like he don't know exactly who I am, but you know who I am. You know who I am. You know what I mean? I'll just leave that at that.
Mm-hmm.
But let me see.
Diddy held the vote hostage for all of 5 minutes, and Jay-Z said we was past leaning, and we've been waiting on the power move since last season.
There you go, Aida. there you go, Aida, and Nicey Girl. I know Nicey Girl can't stand Jay-Z either. There you go, Aida and Nicey Girl. See, I didn't spare the camel. I didn't spare the camel because Jay-Z said we was past leaning, and we still waiting on the power move since last season. It was supposed to be a power move when he got down with Roger Goodell and the NFL and all. You know, we ain't doing the leaning stuff no more, man. It's time to do some actionable steps, you know. We did the leaning thing and all that. We passed that now. Now it's time for some action. He was talking that type of shit, sitting next to Roger Goodell.
He brought Rihanna to the Super Bowl.
Right. We got Rihanna. We got Dr. Dre and them.
Right.
Bowl. Like that was the power move.
That was the power move, I guess.
That was the power move. Like that's why I said we gotta respect Ice Cube because Ice Cube made a real power move with the NFL.
Exactly.
And he didn't have to do no buck dancing to do it.
No singing or dancing involved.
No buck dancing was taking place. He got business handled.
Exactly.
He got business handled, and he created a situation for other black people to be able to benefit. Black entrepreneurs and business people. Now the NFL has a contract with Black America where they have to contract a certain percentage of their vendors and all of this stuff, the advertisers and all of that have to be with black businesses. A certain percentage has to be done with black businesses because of what Ice Cube did without doing none of the buck dancing and all of that, without throwing, none of the other movements under the bus or anything. He just did what he did. With
exactly. Yep. And he was willing to walk away from not taking that jab. He lost that movie role and he let that go. He was clear. He stood on principle.
Say it was a power move for the Carter legacy. Yeah. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. So Jay-Z said we was past leaning, and we've been waiting on the power move since last season. Last part. All right. Because there wasn't a lot of layers to really break down on here. A lot of stuff is straightforward.
A lot of y'all pathetic niggas still sitting with Vlad, signing 360 deals, getting fucked in the ass. All I ask is that you
hold the foot down, represent to the fullest. Hold the foot down, represent to the fullest.
Let me say this. We got to be focused. Nobody in the history of this planet ever got nipple raised through entertainers or athletes. Huh? Ask yourself that. Nobody. When you go to war, you don't go to entertain, you go to kill or be killed. We the only people that sit around and thinking athletes is a bunch of shit, man. Huh? You know any country in the history of the planet got liberated because of entertainers or only us, we tolerate that. But when America wants your ass to go to war, you ain't going blowing no horn. That's what this is about.
All people shit right here. See, RP be doing those little interludes and shit. And I be like, nigga, why you ain't give me that beat? The interludes be ill. Like I hear those like the day before the album drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I be putting them in there, sliding the joints in.
The day before the album, I'm like, yo, where this come from? I'm like, give me this beat right here.
See, what he doesn't know, guys, I give him a lot of beats, but a lot of times, I mean, for the sake of time, when we're going through a creative process, he doesn't get the chance to hear all of the beats that I send him. When I'm in beat mode, I'll send Sincere beats. Some days I'll send him 2 or 3 beats a day, or one day I might send him 4 beats. Here's 4 beats today. Then the next 2 days I come back with another beat. So I'm constantly feeding him throughout the process, and probably by toward the end of the album, he's picked out what he wanted. But he didn't get a chance to hear all the other stuff I sent him. So, so I'll slide a couple in on the interludes, you know.
RP is a prolific producer, man. I don't know how he does it.
Thanks, King.
Yeah, he be sending a lot of goddamn beats. I'm like, nigga, I can't make all these songs. I'm like, you need a couple more artists on your roster. And RP don't want to work with none of y'all, by the way. Don't hit up RP for no beats. Don't want to work with none of y'all.
The only one in the camp, Aida's in the camp. So yeah, Aida, we got some work to do. Let's do something. Let's do something. Thank you, Aida.
RP is like the RZA. You know, the RZA ain't produced for nobody outside the Wu for a long time.
You
couldn't get no RZA beat. There was no price to get the RZA. You had to be just down with the squad.
Yep, you had to be on the team, like for real, for real.
I think the first time I heard RZA outside of the Wu was Life After Death, I think.
Mm-hmm.
He did some stuff on Life.
He did some beats on Life After Death, yeah. Yeah, but you were hard pressed to get a RZA beat, like
Havoc too.
Yeah, it was hard to get a Havoc beat. Yep,
Havoc too. Like
it was hard pressed. They're like, nah, because they established their sound, they brand, and they didn't want everybody running with it. And then they were gonna, water down the sound. It was like, yo, we're gonna establish this Wu-Tang brand in the sound. We're gonna establish this Mobb Deep brand in the sound. And it's like, after we've established that, then we'll collab with some of our artists. And then once we get where we feel we're comfortable, then we'll start, picking and choosing our spots. And that's what established them as legendary producers to this day. They didn't water down their sound. They didn't liquidate their sound. And their sounds are still in demand. Look what Havoc and RZA doing still to this day.
Right. Speaking of Havoc, him and this multi-instrumentalist named Benny Reed, they working on some stuff, and they did a couple of remix Shook ones.
Yep.
And Temperatures Rising and a couple other joints off I think they redoing the whole Infamous album or something. But they working on some stuff together, and so I did a freestyle. If y'all follow me on social media, y'all see I put out a freestyle over top of the Shook Ones remix. And the lyrics, that was the lyrics from the Masters theme, which I was going to do tonight, but we'll get to that in a couple of weeks. But yeah, dude expressed some interest in possibly working with us as well. The dude that did the remix and all that. So
yeah, that'll be dope.
We'll see what happens with that as well. But yeah, that was fly. But yeah, man, a lot of y'all pathetic niggas still sitting with Vlad, signing 360 deals, getting fucked in the ass. All I ask is that you hold the fort down, represent
to the fullest.
You know what I mean? And so that mentality just basically wraps up the whole song, man. This is the mentality of some of these artists that we dealing with, who are working as distractions and running interference for the dominant society and all that. You know what I mean? Same ones signing these 360 deals, same ones running up to Vlad, doing these interviews and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? All of that corny shit. Not even understanding your own power. You know what I mean? And the power of social media and what you could do with your own platform. Thinking, Vlad ice is colder or something.
Right.
But yeah, man, y'all been here with us for a little bit over 2 hours, man. We appreciate y'all rocking with us. This has been volume 3 of the Masters Decoded, and y'all just got the lyrical breakdown for the Fort. What's your thoughts? What you thought about it, man? What you thought about? And by the way, on the Genius app, the lyrics to the entire album is on the Genius app, so y'all could go check that out. Also, I gotta finish you know, I'm still working on our page on the app, so I got to still add more details to it. But most of the lyrics are on there now. Y'all can go check it out on the Genius app. The album is available on all social media platforms. But once again, if you really, really rock with us, what you want to do is you want to go to www.themastersrsvp.com and place your order. Take your seat at the master's table. And we're going to keep it rocking, man. We got some stuff that we still working on as far as rolling out the album. We still trying to get booked for some shows.
Any promoters? Come on, hit us up. We ready to get on the road this summer. Master Elements tour. We need that support.
Also, podcasts and radio DJs and all of that stuff. If you guys want to interview us or bring us on your platform, talk about the project and all of that, please hit us up. Hit us up. We ready to do our press tour and all of that too. You know what I mean? Nicey girl said, "Stop keeping secrets." Yeah, RP won't tell you nothing.
Nicey, you trying to blow me up?
That's a fact, man. So what? Well, next week, I got the Black Dot and Young Con Dawn coming through. We're gonna break down 120 lessons.
Dope.
Another favorite off the album. That's gonna be incredible, man. I can't wait to do that one. But I've been realizing as I've been thinking about it and building with my team behind the scenes and all of that, there's a lot that I want to touch on when we do the 120 breakdown. So y'all definitely want to pull up for that, man. It's going to be like old school cipher like the gods.
Oh, yeah.
Earth used to have back in the days.
That's a family affair.
You know what I'm saying? That's going to be an ill one. So 120 lessons is next week. So we're going to be back here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's that? 5 p.m. Pacific Time for the lyrical breakdown of 120 lessons. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got the Black Business Showcase, and I think we got the brother Mala. I think is how you say his name. I think he's pulling up tomorrow for the Black Business Showcase. He does. He has a program where he helps people transition from the prison system when people are first coming home. He helps them transition back into society and all of that. So I can't wait to chop it up with him about his program and all of that. That was very interesting to me, what he got going on, something that I could relate to, you know what I'm saying, as a person who's, you know, did some time behind them walls and know how it is when you come home trying to make that transition. So stay tuned for that one tomorrow. And also this week, the Pick Me godcast is back. So that's right. Thursday. We got a full week this week. So that's going to be on Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all want to tune in for Nicey Girl and Brown Skin Baddie on another episode of the Pick Me Godcast. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. Just make sure you follow me on social media at SincereluvdaGod, but there might be some stuff that I'm forgetting to tell y'all about, but you will see all the announcements on my social media platforms as we proceed to give you what you need. And so, RP, man.
Yes, sir.
Any last words that you want to say, man, and let the people know where they can follow you at and all of that good stuff, too?
Follow me on social media, DJ RP Beats. And we thank you guys for continued support of this Masters Table project. Continue to spread the word, share the music, and we'll continue to give you more.
You got any gigs coming up?
The usual, man. But I'm focused on right now. You know, it's time for us to get this show on the road. We want to put this band together. We want to give you a live show. We gotta get some trumpet players. We gotta get some bass players.
Yeah.
Man. Come on, Second Son. Let's put a band together.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
we gotta hit the road, man.
That is something that we really, really want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we working on that. So y'all stay tuned. We will keep y'all posted on that right there. Let me look at my banners and see if I'm forgetting anything. Of course, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. I know what I'll tell y'all about that tomorrow on the what's the name thing. But yeah, we still working on the children's book series as well, man. Actually, we wrapping up the children's book series, so Make sure you go to godcastbooks.com, pre-order your book, the 7 of Super Heru book. And we just finished up with the illustrator now, so we about to go to print, and so we're gonna be shipping out copies real soon and all of that. So go to www.godcastbooks.com, order the 7 of Super Heru series now.
Let's go.
Yes, indeed. Okay. I forgot to put this up here earlier, but yeah. There you go. There you go. Honorary member of the group, Nicety Girl. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Honorary member of the group. For sure. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure y'all tap in with us.
Tap on in.
But always remember, family, even though I am a master MC, my brother DJ RP Beats, he is a master producer and composer on the musical side of things. But we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new black media. With that being said, we are out of here. Peace.
Peace.
And black love.
With vast intelligence, we mastered the elements. I'm unapologetic. They call me a black supremacist. Knowing that's a contradiction.